Hi, guys, and welcome to the River Cruising Masterclass. I did a recording with Uniworld, and this is not part of my series because I actually have someone from the line here, and she's going to be talking about the amazingness that is Uniworld, kind of the highlights, and I really loved the family aspect. But I just wanted to come here as a pre-introduction to that, saying I'm a little under the weather, so I wasn't able to get this week's done. So I wanted to post this because I've recorded it, and I just want to make sure that you guys have this information. I really hope you enjoy it, and let me know what you think. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Sydney, as you know, from the Poodle Booked It, and we are here on the River Cruise Masterclass with someone super amazing. We have Elise here from Uniworld, and she's going to be talking to us about Uniworld and what makes this brand super unique. So I just kind of want to just have Elise just do a quick overview of, for those who might not be familiar, like what sets Uniworld apart from other river cruises, just as like just a quick level before we go to some of our questions.
Sure. How are you doing, Sydney? Hi, everybody. Yes, Uniworld is going to be celebrating its 50th anniversary in 2026. So we have been around for quite some time. We have 13 ships in our fleet that we own and operate, and we're considered a luxury, all-inclusive river cruise line. So when we say all-inclusive, we truly mean it. So it's anything you want to drink any time of the day, up to 3 excursions included per day, your tipping, your Wi-Fi, room service, bicycles. So there really isn't any out of pocket for you, which makes it a really nice way to budget and travel. Also, too, our ships are very unique and different. They have antiques and special artwork, and they are reminiscent of the areas that they sail through. So they'll invoke the spirit and the character of the river that they're traveling. We have the Baccarat chandelier that hangs in our Antoinette that sails along the Rhine. We've got, Venetian masks for Tuni fabrics, Murano glass on our ship that sails the Venice Lagoon, which we are unique. We are the only ones sailing the Venice Lagoon and overnighting in Burano, actually. Our cuisine, top of the line, we accommodate almost all dietary requests. On average, our ships are a little bit more intimate, and we carry around 120 or 150 passengers. So we have a very high level of personalized service, a high crew to passenger ratio of 3-to-1. And we have some really great, unique itineraries that we'll get a chance to talk about a little bit, but we do exotics, we do Egypt, we do India, we do Vietnam, Cambodia, we do the Amazon River, and then, of course, the traditional European river cruises, many very popular on the Rhine, very popular on the Danube, with great 2- and 3-night pre- and post-land extensions like Zurich. We also do France, we do Paris, Normandy, we do Burgundy and Provence, we do Bordeaux. You can combine 2 of those or all 3 of those. And then really popular right now is Portugal through the Douro River Valley, which is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Beautiful terraced vineyards, really beautiful scenic sailing, a very sophisticated lock system for those that are interested in the engineering of that. And then you can, of course, overnight in Porto, which is a fabulous old city right on the river, and also to Lisbon or Madeira Island. So we've got some great extensions, and just I mentioned a few, but also I want to mention one I recently did for my Bordeaux sailing. I went to Biarritz, which is on the French-Spanish border in Basque Country. So I spent 4 days at a beautiful property, 5-star, called Hotel du Palais, which is part of the Unbound Hyatt collection, and it's historic because it's the former residence of Napoleon III and Empress Eugenie, and it sits right on the Atlantic Ocean, and it's really very special. And so we're always trying to find unique properties that are 5-star, like our floating boutique hotel ships, so everyone's different, and also to interesting, different pre- and post destinations instead of always doing the more traditional ones. So take pride in that.
There's I want to unpack in that that
Gave
statement
you a
just right
lot.
there.
Sorry.
I know. Well, I'm really excited. I'm going to be going on the Uniworld for Egypt,
Oh, wow.
and my mom has been wanting to go there. And we were looking through all the ships, and she saw yours, and it just spoke to her. And
Yeah.
she was like, I have to go on this ship. It's absolutely gorgeous. And so she definitely is part of that person that just loves the decor, and that's something that just draws her to a line.
Yeah.
And so you guys do that so well.
Mhm.
And I love the fact that you guys are going to the Basque Country because I feel that that is a very undercover or up and coming destination because Spain and Portugal are so really big right now
Yeah.
that we're being able to experience those new parts. And so I'm really excited that Uniworld is adding that to their pre or post there because it's just, I think, a beautiful area.
And we're getting new ships, Sydney. We have 7 new ships coming down the pike. So I told you that we had 13. Some of our more classic ships will go to our sister brand. We are part of the Travel Corporation, which lies under that is Trafalgar, Insight, Brendan, Luxury Gold. But Trafalgar, which does wonderful touring throughout most of the world, they will inherit some of our classic ships, have their own river cruise brand that fits their target client. And then we will replace some of those ships with these newer vessels. And going forward, we're going to have the SS Emily, and SS stands for super ship. And she's going to have 2 decks of French balconies, so more inventory to choose from with those French balconies, what everybody seems to want, because you have those wonderful river views as you sail along. And it's going to have 2 2-bedroom suite options. So that's kind of unique with river cruising to have a 2-bedroom because multi-generational travel is definitely popular. You know, grandma and grandpa taking some of the kids and then their kids. And so we do special programs for that called Generations, where it's specifically geared towards the family. But having these 2-bedroom options, whether it's just, you know, a family member or a husband and wife, that's like, you sleep late and I get up early, and they can afford to do that, then that's great. So that'll be about 600 square feet, those 2 bedrooms. And then the lead-in cabin, which is always on the lowest deck, and usually, you know, sometimes it can be a little tight. We're going to have a nice generous size of 175 square feet, which for river cruising, that's actually large. I know for ocean people, they're like, what? But that's actually large because we're limited in size and space because we have to fit through locks and canals. And so just so people understand, you know, it's definitely different than ocean as far as what the ships are like. But
I think the average is like 130 for an inside
yeah,
for
right.
the window rooms on
Right.
a river cruise.
So
So that is
175 is good. And then we'll have
yeah.
2 more ships, sister to the Emily. The Emily will do the Danube. She'll do Tulip Time initially in the spring, which everybody loves in Holland. And then we're going to transition to the Danube, where she's going to do Vienna, Bratislava, Budapest, but then go on to the lower Danube, as they call it, more towards Eastern Europe. And she will do Belgrade and Croatia. So that's kind of new. And then there's going to be a Dubrovnik extension, which is 4 days, which is great. And then for 2027, we'll have another ship for the Portugal itinerary because that's so popular. So we'll have 2 beautiful ships there, the Raphael and the Gabrielle. And then we'll have 2 sister ships to the Emily, the Audrey and the Marlena. And they're going to do some various Rhine sailings and Mosel. People don't know the Mosel River, but that's a very scenic river as well. Good. Yes.
on my
Everyone
list.
always
Want to do
thinks the
the
Rhine and they just default to that, but the Mosel is quite charming and lovely as well. So we'll do that with some Zurich, Paris, and Prague land combinations. And then we're going to have an Eastern European sailing that instead of always leaving from Budapest to Bucharest, we're going to start in Vienna and go to Bucharest. So that's exciting. And what I'm really excited about is a new 30-passenger yacht that we're going to have called Aqua Blue in 2027, sailing the Indonesian islands with a Bali and Singapore pre and post extension. So still waiting for more information, but very excited to hear that.
about that one, and that one is very high on my mom was born in Indonesia, and
Oh, wow.
so she's been wanting to go back, and I was like, "We have to wait till
You have
2027."
to
Like, it's
go.
perfect timing.
Oh, that's great.
As I say, okay, we've been talking about all these really unique names. How does Uniworld pick their names? It seems like it's very focused on, like, which river they're on.
Well, it's usually like, it used to be like queens, like Antoinette, Maria Theresa for our Danube. With the Emily, when you walk into her foyer or the lobby, you're going to see this very large rendition by Gustav Klimt, who did the Kiss. And you see this beautiful, in that style, of course, it's his style. It will be of his muse, Emily Flaugier. So she was named after that. It's going to be a very Art Deco style with like jewel tones of amethyst and emerald, some gold highlights. She's really quite beautiful. I don't know the sister ships yet. The Marlena I know is from Marlene Dietrich, right? We know her. She's originally from Germany, I believe. And then Audrey, I'm suspecting is Audrey Hepburn, but I haven't been, that could be a rumor, but I'm not quite sure. They haven't given background. But sometimes in the past it's been the royalty, and now maybe it's, the Hollywood royalty perhaps we're doing. I don't know. So it's interesting.
Well, as I say, the ships are royalty. They're absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, they are.
I was gonna say, you guys, the service on board is just such part. Like when you look up everything, like it's top notch. Like, how do you think that you guys like deliver that constantly along your fleet? Like, what is it that makes the service just so amazing?
Well, I think, we've been doing this for 50 years. So the people from Viking started with us, the people from Amma began with us. And so we're the pioneers, if you will. But we have many long tenured crew that stay with us. There's husband and wife teams, that sort of thing. So when you're happy in your personal life, you're happy in your work life. Plus, they get tipped. We include tipping. So there is no chance for them not to get tipped. So I think they feel the effort that they make is rewarded. And so they're happy to put forth that effort. And so it shows. And that's one of the things I probably hear the most about is, oh, my cruise manager, my hotel, or my, just my waiter or my sommelier. We do have sommeliers on board too. So they just really go above and beyond because they're happy and compensated, and that's their job. And with so few passengers on board, they're not catering to like 200 people. They're usually just having to remember 150 people's names or so. So it makes it easier. But they do remember people's names. They remember what their favorite drink is. Some people, they become, Facebook friends, which is quite nice.
Yeah,
So yeah, it
I
definitely
love
stands out
that.
for sure.
Okay, so who do you see as like the ideal passenger for a Uniworld, right?
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
mean like age, demographically speaking? I've been doing this with Uniworld for over 20 years. And so I've seen the evolution, and I've seen perhaps the myth that it's for old people. And when I say old, I just mean more mature, right? Because as you get older, you don't want to pack and unpack. It gets more and more difficult. So the FIT, which we call like, the customized travel where you're going
Yeah.
from hotel to hotel on your own, and it just doesn't become appealing anymore. So with this, it's all budgeted for you up front because it's almost all inclusive. And then it's really just a floating hotel. So you have scenery, you get to see small towns and villages as well as the big cities. So anyone that appreciates the ease of travel, you don't have to be, older or more mature. You just have to realize that I'm not up to packing, unpacking every night. I mean, I'm in my mid 50s and I don't want to do that. And I think most people can appreciate the scenery, the good balance of downtime and escorted busy time, so it's a good trade-off there. And we do have the family programs, like I mentioned. So if you would tell me an age group, well, we allow anyone over the age of 4 to sail with us. Is that unusual? Yes, because you're paying full price for anyone that's under the age of 18. So you're going to have well-behaved. I usually see anywhere from like 10, 12, 14. That's what I see. But we have Let's Go programs with hiking and biking. I did Bordeaux this summer, as I mentioned, and I had 3 different included bike tours that I could do. So there's many opportunities along the river to safely travel. I was in the city of Bordeaux, which is very pedestrian, but we did it through the vineyards. We did it through the city of Bordeaux. So, you could be quite active, but then conversely, we'll have gentle walkers groups for those people, needs to go at a slower pace, can't do all that walking. Or maybe they just had, a hip surgery or something. So they're not quite up to par yet. So we have those options. And so really, yeah, if you put a gun to my head, I'd say 45 to 65 for those 7 9-night programs. But once you get longer, into those 2 and 3 week programs, yeah, it's going to be a little bit older because they have the budget and they have the time.
Personality, right?
Yeah,
Because I went on my first river cruise 3 years ago and I fell in love. I'm 34. I'm
nice.
33. I'm gonna be 34 next month.
You're already
I'm
pushing
already
it.
wrapping up.
Should be going.
But I love it because of all the things you mentioned, right? I hate to repack and unpack
Mm-hmm.
every night because my outfits when I'm on a vacation are on point, all right? And it just takes a lot.
Yes.
I love the ability to have the excursions to, like the morning excursions you can do after one. You don't have to do any if you don't want
Right.
to. but you're in the towns, you get to explore places I never would have added to my itinerary. Like when I went on my first river cruise, I was like, I want to do these spots. I'm not really interested in Budapest, but as part of the trip, we'll do it. It became my favorite city.
Yeah.
And so being able to experience these places I wouldn't without having to make it feel, I'm in a bus every day,
Right.
which because I'm not a huge fan when I do those international trips and it's all bus.
Yeah.
I felt like, you know, mo over half of my day was spent in a bus,
Mhm.
whereas when you're on a river cruise, you're traveling at night, so you don't have to worry as much about that. And so I think it's more of just like the personality that fits the brand of
Yeah.
Uniworld as well.
Yeah, and we often dock in the city centers, town village centers, 90% of the time. So you're getting access to places, like you said, especially with a big ship, you're nowhere near where you usually need to be. But here, because of the size of the ships and the fact that the rivers traverse through the country. I always say river cruising travels through a country, not to a country. So these waterways have been built upon for hundreds of years. There's so much history there, and you just walk off the ship. And for the most part, 90% of the time, there's just no bus required. It's just stroll as you wish. And we do stay late and overnight too. We're not always sailing at night, depending on the distance that needs to be traveled. So you are getting to see a city at night, which really changes the feel of it and everything. You know what I mean? To be Paris at night, versus during the day, it's totally different with the Eiffel Tower all lit up and all, just the nightlife that's going on that you see. So, and we do have exclusive nights out programs. So we did, like in Bordeaux, we go to a former submarine basin from World War II. It's really interesting. And it's only Uniworld guests in the evening. And it's this whole multimedia experience that goes on. And coincidentally for you, it was the pharaohs. That was the theme when I was there. So it was all this imagery from Egypt and really cool. It does rotate, obviously. So as we go from sailing to sailing, people will see different things. But just like you said, just walk off the ship, do what you want to do. If you don't want to do the excursion, you didn't pay, it's included. So don't do it. Go shopping, go have lunch on your own somewhere, even though our food's really good on board. But I get it. You want freedom, right? A little freedom.
Austria, I've had to try a croissant in every city
There
that
you
we
go.
went to because it's actually where it was invented with Marie Antoinette.
Nice.
And so I was like, I have to, and so I ranked them.
And who won?
A really tiny city. I can't even
Okay.
remember which
Good.
one it was. I was thinking Vienna would win,
Yeah.
but it didn't.
Okay.
But
Good to know.
that's what's nice about those cute little cities though, is you get to
Mhm.
I prefer them. I like smaller cities versus the big
Yeah.
cities, to be truthfully
Agreed.
honest.
Yep.
So
And we have tours called Do as the Locals Do. So instead of that big city panoramic tour, I mean, maybe you've never been to that city and you need the overview, but for those who maybe have been or just that they don't prefer to do it that way, we kind of eat the local delicacies along the way as we go through the city, more of the town or village, it's a little more, but there's just a combination of everything. So, again, giving you the choice. How do you want to see the city? Have you never been here and you need the whole panoramic tour, or have you been here and you just want to eat some local delicacies and, do as a local would do, right? Sometimes we take the metro or something, so yeah, so you get to see
yeah.
the life of, a
Because I know
resident.
with Real World, it's also you get multiple options. So every
Yes,
day, it's not that there's just like you can do this.
right.
It's like you've got two or three options, and you can pick. And then you have an afternoon activity, or you could do a full day. So there's definitely what I enjoy with is, as you said, it's all inclusive, and that's one of the reasons like cruising's become so popular, and river cruising especially is once you've paid your the total amount, and it might look more expensive, but then when you start adding in all of those things, the drinks package, the tips, the
Yep.
gratuities, all of the excursions, you're no longer comparing, these two prices that are completely different. You're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's really close to the same price." And I have, you could go out and explore all day and someone is making sure that you're back on board when they have to leave. I had someone who forgot to tag in at one of them, and so they called them at 2 a.m. We're like, "We're leaving. Where are you?" And they're like, "I'm sleeping."
On board, at
I'm
least.
on board, but thank you for checking.
I don't have to catch up to the ship.
Yeah.
That would be bad. Yeah, no. So that system is good, right? Always do your key card so they know that you're back on
Yeah.
board and you're not missing, right?
So with your generations programs,
Mm-hmm.
you guys doing special activities to
Yeah.
engage like that, 8 to 10, that sort of age group as well?
Sure. So on the designated sailings, and for 2026, there'll be some summer sailings on castles along the Rhine, which is Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Burgundy and Provence, which is southern France, as well as the Danube, enchanting Danube. But in the winter, we do Egypt, just as an FYI, over the holiday time. But yes, there'll be two hosts on board, and the kids will be divided up into kids like up to 10, and then teens and tweens above that, because obviously they have different interests. And they'll go off with those hosts and do special excursions geared towards them. Now, as an example, my daughter's 21 now, but she's gone when she was, let's say, 10, and my stepdaughter went and she was, let's say, 16. So they kind of broke apart. So when we were in Venice, while we did a wine tasting, my daughters were doing a rowing lesson in the Venice Lagoon. They could both do that. And then my youngest went and did a scavenger hunt on an island. And then we all went to the Murano glass factory. But then while we were in the glass factory, my older daughter came with us. The younger one went and did a Venetian mask workshop, like right in another room. So she was still there with us, but doing something she doesn't care about glass. So I know, right? Please. But it was great. And then on board, they do have a room that's designated for them. So there'll be games in there. They can just kind of like hang out and do their thing with their family, play cards or something. And then when I was on board at the time, it was summer, it was a big, like, FIFA, I don't know, world soccer matches. And I'm a soccer mom, and there were a bunch of Australians and whatnot. They were soccer moms and dads. And so they gave us an empty cabin that we could go in each night and watch the matches. And they would bring us drinks and snacks. And then on the last day, it was actually Italy. We were in Italy. So the crew was Italian. And Germany, the cruise manager was German. And they put a big blow up screen on the top deck. And we watched the final match. And Germany won. It was crushing the Italians. Just so much. I mean, you just can't
Oh,
make
that's
that
such
up.
a
So they really try and go
sweet.
above and beyond. Again, children are always allowed. I was just in Bordeaux, like I said, there were two families there, maybe with 10 and 12-year-olds. So while we did
Yeah,
the sip and paint class on the top deck, they were there, but they were sipping Sprite. They weren't
yeah.
sipping wine, obviously, but they could participate. So
Do you have any for the Christmas markets
have I
or
been, are you saying, or do
no?
I
Do you
have
have
them? No, but
the
it's a
generation?
really, I mean, many families, especially we have three that go over Christmas and New Year's. And so my brother-in-law is taking his adult children on the Danube one, so he'll celebrate the holidays there. So on those ships too, be mindful that they will have connecting rooms available and
Okay.
or a third person accommodation with the pull-out couch in some of the suites.
Oh,
That's not
that's awesome.
always, but
Yeah.
usually. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize how much you guys did for the generational
Yeah.
programs.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah. That's so cool. If I know some people who like do the generational travel and I just don't think they knew that it was there, but I just don't think they realize all of the work that Uniworld puts into engaging the children to make sure they enjoy themselves as well.
Absolutely. And for those people that don't want to see children, please do not book a date that says generations, because it will be families, not, maybe 5 or 6. Won't be the whole ship, but there'll be some.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, okay. And so I want to be appropriate of your time. What would be the thing that you would tell someone who was thinking about a Uniworld cruise like as the highlight for them, for Uniworld?
the highlight,
Yeah.
like the one key appeal, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
think if you, well, with river cruising in general, like we mentioned earlier, just the ease of travel, which I think really stands out. A floating hotel, boutique hotel, where you look out your window, you have this beautiful scenery. I mean, usually you're going to be on the top deck, getting these wonderful 360-degree views. I mean, I have pictures of my husband just napping right there on the couch after reading a book. So again, that balance of escorted busy time with the downtime, which is, a vacation shouldn't always be that you're running around like a chicken
Right.
without your head. There should be a balance there. The food on board is outstanding. I mean, we have regional, local specialties. We accommodate all dietary requests pretty much, other than, unfortunately, kosher. But you can always have a salmon or a chicken or a steak if you like more traditional fare. So between the cuisine, the balance of escorted and downtime, and the ease of travel, I think, and Uniworld being unique in that it has the really higher level of service, the most inclusive of all river cruise lines, so you're not being nickeled and dimed once you're on board. And the way that they construct the experiences or the excursions, making them unique typically or exclusive, and having the ability to choose, not just given one, and recognizing you all have different interest and fitness levels.
I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Sydney. I appreciate this. Really, you're a great partner for Uniworld, and we appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
And hopefully